part of Project 571, genetically engineered vampire created to destroy evil.
What do you want?
We need your help to kill a vampire.
Malleus Maleficario. It was written by a witch. The first witch. Titania.
That was a little snippet from The Witch's Hammer, the first film I ever solo directed, and it's just been remastered and re-released on Amazon. So if you like witches and vampires, then please do check it out. Anyway, let's get on with this week's episode. I'm going to give you 16 mistakes that indie filmmakers make, and these are from painful experience. I've made short films and feature films, I've had them all released, and this is what I've learned over the process of the last 20 years of making these films, some of the mistakes I've made myself, and hopefully I'm going to prevent you making them. Number one, revealing the budget to the wrong people. So as micro budget filmmakers, we're often very proud of how much we've made our film for, whether it's 30k, 20k, 5k, and maybe even lower. And you should be proud because you've managed to beg, borrow and steal to get your film made. And that's no easy thing to do. However, there are certain people that you should not reveal that budget to, and I'm talking specifically sales and distribution here, because unfortunately what that does is it immediately puts a value on your film to them and makes them think the film's not as valuable as it actually is, because often when filmmakers give that figure, they say 5, 10k, they're not taking into consideration all the other costs that they would have had to pay for had they not pulled all those favours. Make sure you've added all those up. By all means, have a budget figure in mind when you talk to those sales and distribution, but don't go in there saying 10 grand, because then all they'll think is, oh, it's a 10 grand film, and it might look like 100 grand. Number two, not taking enough photos. You'll know that I always say good stills pay bills, and I can't emphasize that enough, how important photos are. Even in this day and age where everyone's watching videos on their phones, a photo can still speak 1,000 words, and it is going to be vital for you, whether you're using them for crowdfunding, you're going to stick some photos up, whether you're using them on social media to promote your film, or whether you're actually using them to create the artwork for the film when you finally sell it. Getting someone in to take good photos on set, also posed photos and photos on a green screen is so valuable. So please make sure you set aside some time to take some good stills. Number three, not promoting the film early enough. So when you finish that script, that's the time to start promoting the film. Is to start talking about it, start building interest and building an audience. You don't want to do that when you've finished post-production and you've just had your screening, because it's too late. You want to get people excited about the film. You want to get them excited about your journey making the film, because it will make them much more likely to watch it when it's finished. Not knowing who your audience is. Now, I've seen this time and time again. Filmmakers will make a film without really thinking about who that audience is. Now, some genres you may have a baked-in audience, if it's a horror, for example, but even if it is a horror film, there are a lot of subgenres and there are a lot of different horror fans out there who like different things. So when you're starting your film, do a profile on your ideal audience member. Where do they hang out online? What other things do they buy? What are they interested in? Because when you come to do your marketing, that's the person you want to direct all of your marketing on. You want to find where they are. You want to promote your film in those spaces in the ways they're used to finding out about films. Enjoying the process. And I've done this myself before. I've got so stressed when I'm on set that I've forgotten that this is it. This is the reason I'm doing it, so I get to be on set and bring my script to life. So I do see filmmakers do this, and I do see all different departments do this, whether it's your first film as a DOP or you're working on the sound or you're doing special effects. The stress can become all-consuming and you can forget why you're there. So really do take a moment to enjoy it. Remember, it's not all about the screening and going to festivals. It's about the actual process of making a film and how much fun that can be. Not sharing your script for feedback. I was a little bit like this back in the day. I'd write a script and I wouldn't want anyone to look at it because I was frightened people were going to copy it, which is ridiculous. No one's going to copy your idea. And even if they did, it would be completely different through their lens. But there's plenty of ideas out there for people to want to steal your particular idea. And the other reason was you didn't want everyone looking at this precious thing that was just yours And what's behind that is a fear of criticism, that people are going to come in, start criticizing it. They'll criticize some of the things you love the most about it. And that in some way damages it, and you need to defend it. But you don't. What you need to do is get your script in front of as many people as possible, both friendly and non-friendly. I've sent it out to people who I know are going to rip it to pieces, my script, but that's what I want. I want to hear about it now. I don't want to hear about it in the reviews when the films come out. I'd rather know about all of the problems, all of the characters that people don't like, all of the subplots that don't work. You can take all this feedback in and you can put it through your own sort of internal computer and figure out what are the themes that people keep coming back to, what are the things they don't understand, what are the sticking points and the things that people say, oh, that wouldn't happen, or that's not logical, what are the things that take them out of the story. Because if you get more than one person say the same thing, then you know there's an issue that you need to work on. So don't be precious with it, show it to everyone. I'd also say pitch it to everyone. If anyone's interested that you're making a film, give them the pitch, watch their face for any signs that they're either bored or confused, because those are the moments you need to fix. Seeing other filmmakers as competition. Now, for some reason, this happens a lot in indie filmmaking. I'm sure it happens in other creative spaces. When you've got people who are at a similar level to you, and maybe one of them does really well, the other filmmakers maybe view that as, oh, they've got that, so I can't have it. It's that zero-sum thinking game, as if there's only a certain amount of lucky or great things or success out there, and if someone else is getting it, you're not going to get it. And it causes us sometimes to hold our cards too close to our chest and not collaborate with other filmmakers and not learn from each other. Some of the things like this, some of the mistakes you've made, some of the people you wouldn't do business with. Treating everyone as competition is a bad way to look at it. Obviously, you've got to still not be gullible and not give away everything, but it's worth finding those people who you can collaborate with, who you can be honest with, who will also be honest with sharing information with you, because it is vital. Shooting before the script is finished. Now, I've done this myself. My first 2 features were co-written, co-directed, and they weren't great, if I'm honest. And the problem was we were so eager to start filming that we kind of got to a point where we were frustrated with the script and we're just like, right, it's done, let's get shooting, let's film it. And boy, did we pay for it when we came to edit the film. And on both of those films, we ended up having to do reshoots, shooting extra stuff just to make that plot make sense. So don't rush into shooting until the script's absolutely locked. You know, get that feedback I mentioned earlier and return to those people who are kind enough to give you feedback. And if they're kind enough to read it again, ask them if the problems have been solved and if it works as a whole. Focusing too much on equipment. So this is something I see a lot with students. They get obsessed with the camera, they get obsessed with the kit, and what that does is it takes their attention away from what's really important, which is the story and the characters. So don't get too obsessed with kit. You can shoot a film on a mobile phone if you want, and it might end up being better than something that's shot on an Arri, just because the filmmakers have spent more time thinking about their plot, their characters, and their story. Ultimately, the only people who are really going to care what it's shot on are filmmakers. The audiences don't care. If they're sucked into your story, they're not going to be wondering what format we're in, what lenses we've used. They're just interested in whether they're enjoying the film or not. So don't worry about equipment. Not prioritizing sound on set. So again, this is a big mistake I've made before. We've shot a whole feature, not really paid much attention to the sound. And then when we've come to sync it up in post, this is back in the film days, we've been horrified. There's been all sorts of issues. We've had to post dub tons of it. And if you post dub more than one line in a scene, it just sounds terrible and you can tell. So do prioritize sound. Get somebody in who's passionate about sound. Don't just go, oh, you can do the sound because you've not got a job. You want to make sure there's someone there who's interested in sound and will treat it as seriously as your camera crew. Not spending enough time on sound design. So I've seen this happen. The film gets made, it gets cut together, there's dialogue, there's maybe a couple of Atmos tracks, but no one's gone in and designed the sound for the film. And I don't just mean adding all the footsteps and the cup going down and the gun going off. I mean really thought about the design and how it impacts the viewer who's watching the film. Because there's so many things you can do with that sound design to help also tell your story as well as the visuals. So don't neglect it. Get somebody in who's passionate about sound design, somebody who wants to spend the time adding to that story, adding their own creativity, because it really does make the film better. Also, when you upload your film to platforms like Amazon, or maybe you're going on Film Hub, if there are any dead spaces in the sound, so say you've got two characters talking, but there's a long period of silence, you haven't even put any Atmos tracks on there or music, what will happen is when you upload it, whatever system Amazon uses will see that dead WAV on that film, and it will send it back and say there's an error. It will think there's something missing. You can't have no sound, you have to have something. Not reading the small print. Now, I've fallen foul of this myself. I've signed a contract, I've been so excited about getting a sales and distribution deal that I haven't been through the small print, read it and understood what it actually means. And you pay for it later if you don't do that. So maybe you're not the best person to read the contract. Maybe you should give it to somebody who give it the time, whether that's a legal representative or whether that's someone in the family who knows law, or someone who's just good at reading detailed documents. You've got a producer who's got their eye on the ball, who'll find all of those clauses that could cost you later down the line. Not having a film festival strategy. So the main mistake I see filmmakers make is they put all their eggs in one basket. They say, oh, we've got to get into, say, Fright Fest. Fright Fest, got to get into Fright Fest. We're going to get the film made. We're going to get it edited. We're going to send it off to Fright Fest. And then what happens is maybe they don't get into Fright Fest. And that just sucks the air out of everything. They put all their eggs in one basket and they haven't thought about what festival's actually the right fit for the film. If you're interested in hearing more about film festival strategy, then listen to my episode with Mark Marriott. He talks in there about how he got his film into a ton of festivals, and also talks about film festival strategy and maybe thinking about your film in relation to where it should premiere, not continuing to promote your film. So you spend all this time making a feature film, you've got it onto streaming platforms, and you've been banging the drum for 6 months, and then that just starts to slip away because you want to jump onto your next project. You just need to remember that there are still audiences out there who haven't seen your film. You've just got to find them. So don't give up. Don't let the film just disappear into nothing. Keep promoting it. Keep thinking of new ways to promote that film and new ways of finding an audience for it. Ignoring insurance and contracts. So let's start with insurance. It's vital you have some sort of insurance on your film. There are places that specifically do micro budget, low budget insurance, so you definitely need those. And also if you're filming anywhere that's like private land or maybe council owned land, they'll want that public liability insurance just to even let you in the door. So really do think carefully about insurance. It's worth the money if anything goes wrong. And also contracts. So for cast, crew, maybe your location release, make sure you get all of these in place before you shoot, because it might seem a little bit overly formal, but it's best to get them done before you start rolling, because the contract's also got a very good explanation of what you expect from the person, for example, and what the person expects from you. And if it's a location, it will just protect you from any problems later down the line. I know some sales and distribution do ask for copies of all of those contracts, so you want to make sure you've got them all in place because it protects you. Jump in on the next project too soon. So I've done this myself. Even when you're on set shooting the film, you're already talking to the cast and crew about your next idea and you're excited about it and you just want to get rolling. And I'm a creative person. I love to do that myself, is to start imagining what I'm going to shoot next. But unfortunately, if you get too involved in that, you'll take your eye off the ball of the current film you're making. So maybe keep those bubbling away in the background, but don't just jump straight into the next project. Make sure you've given this one the time and love it deserves, especially when it comes to promoting and finding an audience for your movie. I hope that was useful. Please do drop in the comments the mistakes you've made and what you've learned from them, because I'm sure there's a ton that I haven't even thought of, or maybe that I've forgotten. So put them in the comments. If you're interested in a couple of episodes on investing in film and promoting your film, there's some great ones with Rosa Camero, where we talk about getting a film ready for finances. We also talk about a promotion strategy for when you release your film. See you on the next one.